Do you know that there was a lost found footage from a man named Michael on his expedition into the pyramids? The footage was recorded in '90s and only a handful of people have ever seen it. He who was an explorer from Dallas, Texas, and what he recorded will definitely give you chills. As the ancient Egyptians were well known for their black magic, and their belief in afterlife. The footage was narrated by a security guard on his deathbed as the flickering screen illuminated the dimly lit room as a grainy, found footage video began to play. The footage appeared to be recorded by a man named Michael, capturing his daring expedition into the heart of an ancient pyramid. The camera wobbled slightly as Michael, a thrill-seeker with an insatiable appetite for adventure, whispered excitedly into the lens. He stood at the entrance of the pyramid, his face masked by shadows cast by the moonlight. "Here we are, folks. The legendary pyramids of Egypt," he whispered, his voice tinged with anticipation. "I've always been fascinated by the mysteries that lie within these ancient structures. And tonight, I'm going to explore the unexplored, discover what no one else has ever seen." With nimble movements, Michael crept past the security guards, skillfully avoiding their watchful eyes. He had meticulously planned this break-in, ensuring he would not be caught or detected. He knew the consequences of his actions, but the allure of the unknown pushed him forward. As the camera descended into the depths of the pyramid, the walls seemed to close in, echoing with whispers of forgotten history. Michael's breath quickened, a mix of excitement and trepidation. The air grew heavy, laden with centuries of secrets. In the flickering light, Michael's camera revealed a hidden passage, concealed behind a crumbling wall. With an eager grin, he squeezed through the narrow opening, disappearing into the abyss beyond. The footage became shaky as he navigated the labyrinthine corridors, his footsteps echoing eerily. The walls were adorned with intricate hieroglyphics, depicting the lives and tales of long-gone pharaohs. Michael marveled at the preserved mummies in ornate ancient stone coffins, their hollow eyes staring into eternity. The dead whispered cautionary tales, warning him of the consequences that awaited those who dared disturb their eternal slumber. But Michael was undeterred. His thirst for adventure pushed him further, deeper into the pyramid's mysterious depths. The camera captured his awe and disbelief as he stumbled upon a chamber unlike any he had ever seen. The room was bathed in an ethereal glow, emanating from a figure standing in the center. It was the mummy of a pharaoh, but unlike the others, this one stood tall, adorned in regal attire. His eyes burned with an otherworldly light, captivating Michael's attention. The camera panned across the room, capturing the astounding sight before them. Gold and jewels glittered, filling the chamber with an opulence that surpassed all imagination. And there, in the corner, stood slaves, their eyes hollow, their existence dedicated to serving their pharaoh. Michael's voice trembled as he spoke into the camera, "I can't believe what I'm seeing. This is beyond anything I could have imagined. The mummy, he's alive. The pharaoh, he's here, with all his wealth and slaves." The camera panned back to the pharaoh, who extended a hand towards Michael, an invitation to join him in his unearthly world. The allure of power and riches tugged at Michael's conscience, challenging his morality. The scene shifted, revealing a desolate and nightmarish landscape. Michael found himself standing in the heart of the Duat, the Egyptian realm of the dead. The air was heavy with an otherworldly chill, and an eerie silence enveloped the surroundings. The camera trembled in Michael's hand as he attempted to capture the surreal sight. The souls of the departed wandered aimlessly, their spectral forms flickering in and out of existence. Their eyes, devoid of life, bore the weight of eternal torment. They moaned and wailed, their cries echoing through the dark expanse, reverberating with an unfathomable sorrow. As the camera panned across the scene, it revealed the souls of the slaves who had toiled endlessly for the pharaoh in life. Their spirits were bound in eternal servitude, their faces etched with weariness and despair. They moved through the Duat with hunched backs and downtrodden spirits, their existence a testament to the injustices of the past. Michael's face contorted with a mixture of horror and empathy as he bore witness to the suffering that surrounded him. The camera captured their haunting visages, preserving their stories within the fragile frame. Suddenly, a sinister presence slithered through the darkness, the embodiment of chaos and destruction. Apophis, the great serpent and god of chaos, materialized before Michael. Its colossal form coiled and writhed, radiating malevolence. The camera shook uncontrollably as Michael struggled to maintain his composure. Apophis hissed, its voice a cacophony of sinister whispers, promising a fate worse than death. Its fiery eyes pierced through the darkness, locking with Michael's, and an overwhelming sense of dread engulfed him. Apophis spoke, its voice resonating deep within Michael's soul. You have trespassed into the realm of the dead, foolish mortal. The Pharaoh's invitation was but a ploy, a ruse to lure souls like yours into eternal torment. You will not escape the consequences of your actions. The camera captured Apophis' venomous gaze, the twisted visage of a god that reveled in chaos. Its presence filled the duet, casting a pall over the souls trapped within its clutches. As fear consumed Michael, he turned to flee, desperate to escape the clutches of the malevolent deity. But Apophis slithered forward with unnatural speed, blocking his path. The camera shook violently, capturing fleeting glimpses of the serpent's fangs, each dripping with a poisonous darkness. I am the harbinger of destruction, the devourer of souls, Apophis hissed, its voice reverberating through Michael's bones. Your fate is sealed, mortal. Prepare to suffer for your trespasses. The camera captured the terror in Michael's eyes as Apophis lunged, its jaws opening wide to consume his very essence. As Michael's life hung precariously in the balance, he mustered every ounce of courage he had left. With a trembling voice, he pleaded with Apophis, desperately trying to convince the malevolent serpent god to spare him. Apophis, great and powerful deity, I am but a mere mortal. I am not the soul claimer you seek. Another god is responsible for my presence here, Michael stammered, his voice laced with fear. I beg you, spare my soul and allow me to rectify the situation. I will bring you something of great value, the mask of Tutankhamun. Apophis's fiery eyes narrowed, studying Michael with a mix of curiosity and amusement. The serpent god, reveling in chaos, enjoyed the proposition that the mortal had put forth. With a wicked grin, Apophis hissed, very well, mortal. If you wish to spare your soul, bring me the mask of Tutankhamun, lost in the depths of the Duat. But know this, should you fail or betray me, your punishment will be eternal. The camera captured the desperation etched on Michael's face as he nodded, accepting the ominous task laid before him. He understood the perilous nature of his quest but saw no alternative if he wanted to escape the clutches of Apophis. Guided by flickering torchlight, Michael ventured deeper into the Duat, the camera capturing his treacherous journey. The souls of the damned writhed around him, their eerie cries echoing through the lifeless expanse. Shadows danced and twisted, threatening to swallow him whole at any moment. Time seemed to lose its meaning as Michael pressed forward, navigating through the labyrinthine passageways of the Duat. The air grew heavier, laden with the whispers of long-departed souls. Flickering glimpses of the mask of Tutankhamun teased him, its presence just out of reach. As Michael delved further into the abyss, he encountered treacherous traps and guardian spirits intent on protecting the ancient artifacts hidden within the Duat. His determination was tested at every turn, but fueled by the hope of sparing his own soul, he persevered. Finally, after what felt like an eternity, Michael stood before a hidden chamber, its entrance guarded by an ominous specter. With a trembling hand, he presented the proposition to the guardian, explaining his pact with Apophis and his quest for the mask of Tutankhamun. The guardian, swayed by the desperation and sincerity in Michael's voice, nodded, granting him passage. The camera captured Michael's cautious steps as he entered the chamber, his heart racing with a mix of anticipation and anxiety. There, in the dimly lit chamber, lay the fabled mask of Tutankhamun. Its golden splendor shimmered, adorned with intricate details that whispered of a forgotten era. Michael's hands trembled as he carefully retrieved the mask, cradling it in his arms. With the mask in his possession, Michael retraced his steps, the camera documenting his arduous journey back through the treacherous corridors of the Duat. Every shadow seemed to mock him, every whisper a reminder of the consequences that awaited should he fail. Finally, Michael emerged from the depths of the Duat, the mask of Tutankhamun gleaming triumphantly in his hands. He approached Apophis, who coiled and uncoiled in anticipation, his eyes fixed upon the precious artifact. "I have fulfilled my end of the bargain, Apophis," Michael declared, his voice filled with a mix of exhaustion and defiance. "Now, as promised, spare my soul." Apophis studied the mask with a mix of awe and longing. For a fleeting moment, his chaotic presence seemed to soften. With a nod, he granted Michael his freedom, his voice echoing through the Duat. "Your soul is safe, mortal. But remember, I am always watching. Betray me, and your fate will be sealed." As Michael stepped away, clutching the mask of Tutankhamun, he knew that his encounter with Apophis and the Duat would forever haunt his memories. The camera captured his weary yet determined gaze as he retreated from the realm of the dead, forever marked by the ancient secrets he had uncovered. As the guard lay on his deathbed, frail and feeble, he mustered the strength to recount the harrowing tale of Michael's ill-fated expedition to the pyramids. The room fell into a hushed silence as his raspy voice filled the air, each word carrying the weight of a dark secret. "After we caught him trespassing, we confiscated his camera," the guard wheezed, his voice barely above a whisper. "We watched the footage, spellbound by the forbidden journey he had undertaken." The guard's trembling hands gestured toward an empty space, as if trying to conjure the memories locked within the lost footage. His eyes gleamed with a mix of curiosity and regret, haunted by the images that had long faded from his mind. "We saw the mysteries of the Duat, the souls of the enslaved, and the wrath of Apophis," the guard continued, his voice laden with remorse. But the true horror began after Michael's capture. He took a deep, labored breath, his voice becoming faint. Within a week of his imprisonment, he aged at an unnatural pace. His hair turned gray, his skin wrinkled and sagged, as if time itself had fast-forwarded through his body. Gasps of astonishment escaped the listeners, captivated by the guard's chilling account. Questions swirled in their minds, seeking answers to the enigma that surrounded Michael's untimely demise. "We couldn't comprehend it," the guard murmured, his voice barely audible. "He withered away, his life force drained, until there was nothing left. He died of old age, his body a mere shell of the man who had ventured into the forbidden depths of the pyramid." The room fell into a heavy silence, the weight of the guard's revelation hanging in the air. The truth behind Michael's mysterious end had been unveiled, but the unanswered questions left a void in the hearts of those who had gathered to hear his final confession. As the guard's voice faded into silence, his eyes closed, never to open again. His secrets, forever entwined with the lost footage, were carried with him to the realm beyond. And so, the story of Michael, the daring explorer who ventured into the pyramids, met his tragic end. His tale remained shrouded in darkness, forever lost within the labyrinth of unanswered questions and unfathomable mysteries.